Any tarot card, any reading is showing you what has just happened or what is happening now or what is about to happen, and we don't know the exact time frame. Oh, so Benita, I've had some repeat cards that come up, can we look at those in the session? And I get that so often, like clients who have done my tarot course in the past, inquiries when it happens in the actual session. I'll get my clients saying, oh yeah, by the way, I keep getting this particular card or this particular, repeat oracle card, what does it mean? It's not necessarily the card that is trying to tell you something, it's you. So you're the one who pulls the card out. So if I'm giving a reading to someone and I say, pick a card from from there or wherever, or if I say left or right, which one do you want, and they're picking a card out, it's them giving themselves advice. So the card is a representation of you giving yourself advice. So try not to focus on the card having the power. You have the power, and the cards are representing your different aspects of yourself. And it really depends on the context. Like, are you in a relationship and you keep getting the Lover's card? Are you not in a relationship and you keep getting the Lover's card? Are you wondering if you should be in a relationship because there's an option, almost upon you could be, and you keep getting the Lover's card? So it really depends where you're at in life. In general, if I was going to use those categories I just mentioned, if you are in a relationship and you keep getting the Lover's card, you and your partner are working well together in some way. So me and Jade's here. So he's always with me when I'm doing my shows. He does all the technical stuff. We kind of rehearse it a little bit before we start. And he's there to sort of bounce off ideas and me with him. So it's like this would be us working together in my example. So if you get it in your reading, how are you and your partner working together? What kind of joint project might you be focusing on? If you're not focusing on something that has a common goal for the both of you, then maybe that Lover's card would come up because you would need to make sure that you're doing more together toward a common goal. So the Lover's card can come up to remind you, do more things as a couple for a common goal. Not do more things as a couple to make one person happy, do more things as a couple to make both of you happy. So it can come up as a reminder and or a reflection of what you're already doing. So it really does depend on the other cards that you're that you've got in your reading. People generally don't do one card reading for themselves all the time. They generally have 3 or 5 or maybe 10. If you're not in a relationship and you keep getting the Lover's card, it might be that you need to address a relationship that was meant to be over, but it's still going. Address a relationship that was. So if you're getting the Lover's card, but you're single, and you get the Lover's card, why am I getting the Lover's card? It looks like a relationship, and indeed it could be. But you might be getting the Lover's card because you haven't stopped answering the phone to your ex. You keep texting him. You keep maybe meeting him for a coffee every now and then. You think you're single, but you're actually still in the last relationship. So the Lovers card could be talking about that. If you are single, the Lovers card coming up on a repetitive basis might mean that you will be meeting someone soon. However, the Lovers card tends to be an advanced version of an existing relationship. The Lovers card is an advanced version of an existing relationship. So it's unlikely that if you're single, you're going to get the Lovers card to say that a relationship is coming. It might be that an existing relationship that you had in the past, maybe there's been a break, you might meet that person again, or they are on a list at a party or at a wedding or something. So if you're single, looking for a relationship, wondering if it's going to turn up in your cards, then you're more likely to get the Two of Cups or the Three of Cups or something that is more at the beginning stages. Not to disappoint anyone, because there is always a chance that the Lovers card can mean that you're meeting someone. But in the scheme of the tarot and stages, the Lovers card is more advanced. Please like my page on Facebook. Please subscribe to me on YouTube. And now we've got a new option. You can listen to the whole live show recorded on SoundCloud. So if you're in your car or going to sleep at night, or instead of turning on the radio, you can turn on SoundCloud and you can listen to the whole live show. So right, now we'll move on. Don't get alarmed, the Death card. Why would you get the Death card repeatedly in a reading? So one of the things to pay attention with the Death card is not, I'm writing down, not doom and, not gloom and doom. Right. Can you see that? Yeah. I'm using a purple pen to see if it's going to work, as opposed to the black pen in case I run out of black pens. So it's not always doom and gloom when you get the Death card. You must get out of that way of thinking. Often when I have a client who's with me, if they get the Death card, their first reaction is, oh, this doesn't look good, or oh no, is something bad going to happen, or oh, Benita, can we put the card back because I'd rather shuffle and get some other cards. Like, it's very important to understand why the Death card is there. And so I'll write down here too. You need to understand it because it's going on within you. It's like need to understand. It's going on within you. It's like if you took your car in for a service and they didn't tell you that you had a hole in your radiator, right? So it's like if you're taking your soul for a service, coming to see me, and I didn't tell you that you had a hole in your radiator and you got the Death card, and then you went away and thought, okay, everything's fine in my life, and then one day your radiator blows up, or one day something else goes wrong, or you're feeling a lot of different thoughts and emotions that you can't make sense of, and it's all quite intense. You need to know things like that. So knowing that you've got a hole in your radiator, now you know what you can work with, or now you know what is likely to happen. There's a series of events. So if the Death card comes up, you need to look at what's going on in your life. So if you keep getting the Death card, there is a chance, of course, that you might, not necessarily yourself, but a friend of a friend or a friend of a family member might be ill and might pass soon. Less often, the death card talks about an immediate death in your own family or with your partner or best friend. It tends to be, once or twice or 3 times removed. So if you keep getting it, you might be getting a sign that if we take this literally, that death is coming. Also, it depends on where the card is in your reading as well. If there is no death, right? So there isn't someone ill, or it could be an accident, but the death card tends to be something that has a build-up. So you don't suddenly get the death card. You would suddenly get the Tower card. The death card generally has a process behind it, a period of time. So if you keep getting it and say there isn't a death involved, say you are changing jobs, leaving your job, say you are moving house, leaving a relationship, leaving a group of friends, and the death card keeps coming up, then you might need to just focus on the fact that it could be about a leaving or a separation from somebody or a group, and that it's coming. Or if it's not something to do with the future, if it keeps turning up, then maybe some sort of separation or leaving that you've done has already happened, and the death card is showing you that like it's something is over. It's like, well, can you let it be over, please? Like, let yourself go to the next stage rather than keeping something alive that is not working for you anymore. So it's very important to recognize when something has finished in your life, not to let it keep being strong or alive, I suppose. Not let that feeling dominate. If something has finished, let it go. So it doesn't have to be a death, but it could be a leaving or separation that is coming, or the death card can keep turning up when the leaving or separation has already happened, and you're needing to acknowledge that properly. It's like any tarot card, any reading is showing you what has just happened, or what is happening now, or what is about to happen, and we don't know the exact time frame. So it's things to keep in mind, like recording all of your readings, making a note. You've got your tarot book, right? Tarot diary, or some other kind of journal. And every time you have a reading, you write down what the card is, how you're feeling, and what's happened, so that you come to understand yourself. Oh, well, I'm pulling out the death card because, yes, I keep having feelings that I should stop picking up the phone to a certain person. Oh, the card's coming up. Oh, well, I need to do that. So or you might need to be wary that a change is coming in your life, and it's a very big change. It's not just oh, I'm changing my my brown top into a green one, or it's not I'm just changing my my necklace to something else. Why would you get repeat sword cards, or keep drawing lots of sword cards? Sword cards, apart from the Ace of Swords, which it looks somewhat positive, sword cards, Two of Swords, someone holding 2 swords with a blindfold on, and the swords are really big and heavy. 3 of Swords, 3 swords sticking into a heart, and it's raining in the background. This is the Rider-Waite deck. 4 Swords, someone lying on a coffin in a church. 5 of Swords, someone having a kind of conflict with one or more people. 6 of Swords, 3 people, 2 adults and 1 children. I'm describing the cards. Are in a boat full of swords going somewhere. Why might you keep getting sword cards? Well, maybe 2 of Swords, you keep being in a state of indecision. That is a very tiring card to get on a repeat basis. You must look at what revolves in your head over and over and over. 3 of Swords, why would you keep getting the 3 of Swords over and over? I've noticed particularly when a client comes to me and she's going through relationship problems, or she is grieving from a breakup, she might get that. It's pain from the current emotional state, usually to do with a relationship. Sometimes it can be a friend or a family member. So why would it keep coming up for you? I'm not sort of going to go through all the cards, especially time is pressing, but you might get a repeat 3 of Swords card because you're carrying pain with you. And it's really important, like if I talk about what I can do for you in a session, it's really important not to carry pain because it turns into illness. That's the bottom line. Not trying to be all doom and gloomy or not trying to be negative. It's a fact. If you carry pain around, emotional pain around with you from anything that's happened in the past, it will turn into an illness sooner or later. You will at least get sick. So that's why clients have phone sessions, Skype sessions, in-person sessions with me where we can do a reading, see what the situation is, and maybe a healing as well to help identify this emotional pain and move it out of your body so that you're not carrying it. Because who wants to get sick? You know, who wants to be 60 or 70 not really being able to move? No one does. Everyone wants to be healthy. So repeat cards are important to pay attention to. You need to link it up with your life and ask yourself, what am I not paying attention to? What am I not doing that the cards are telling me? Not necessarily the cards are telling you, you're telling yourself. 4 of Swords, why is that coming up for you all the time? Well, maybe you need more rest and you're not paying attention. 5 of Swords, why does that keep coming up for you? Maybe there's always an argument around you at work or in your relationship and it's still going. What can we do to address this? 6 of Swords, why does that keep coming up for you? You're in a transition from home to work or from time off going back to work, or it keeps coming up. Why? There's some kind of transition that hasn't finished, or maybe it should have finished. So it really depends. A little break, then I'll talk about the 7 cards. There's a lot more to say, right? So I could go on about this for hours, and that's why if I'm not covering what you need to hear in this video, do ring for a session and we can go through all your questions. You won't be in the dark anymore. You won't be all confused. You won't be worried about certain cards coming out. It's just so worth the peace of mind. Right. Thanks for joining us. Please like me on, I have to keep remembering, still getting used to this. Please like me on Facebook. Please subscribe to me on YouTube, and you can listen to this recording on SoundCloud. Right, all the 7 cards. Yes, we will make it in time. All the 7 cards. So there kind of is another 7 card. I have to find it. People don't think about the Chariot as a 7 card, but it is. Again, Rider-Waite deck. Hunting through the cards now to find the Chariot. Right. So, why would you keep getting repeat 7 cards? Okay. So, just to touch on each of the cards just roughly and quickly. 7 of Wands, why would you keep getting that? You might be in a perpetual state of feeling unprepared, in which case you need to stop and get yourself prepared and not feel on the back foot all the time, because that takes a lot of energy. 7 of Swords, if you keep drawing that card. 7 of Wands, for those of you who are listening, it's a person holding a wand on an angle, and they're on a hill, and there are all there's 6 other wands kind of coming at them. So that's a 7 of Wands. The 7 of Swords, Rider-Waite deck, description is mostly yellow, and the person is looking in one direction at 2 swords, but their feet are in another direction carrying 5 swords. So if you keep getting the 7 of Swords, there could be a time factor. You might feel like you're constantly running out of time. And again, maybe to organise yourself so that you're not feeling stressed. It might be to do with secrets. What secrets do you feel you're having from others? What secrets do you feel others are having from you? Hopefully not that one. 7 of Pentacles. There are 7 Pentacles kind of in the bottom corner of the card. There's a person looking at them, and there's 1 pentacle between that person's feet. So with that, if you keep getting the 7 of Pentacles, you might feel like something is over, but you can't let it go. So it's showing you, well, hey, it could be over. And the pentacle between your feet, when you look at the card, there's a pentacle between the person's feet that is like, oh, am I ready to let the last bit go? So the card, or you are telling yourself through the card, maybe reflect on that something is done. Let it go to the next stage. 7 of Cups, quite a different energy. It generally, with the 7 cards, there's movement and action going on. So the 7 of Cups, there's 7 cups in the air. There's a silhouette, a person in silhouette looking at the 7 cups in the air. If you keep getting that, you might be similar to the 7 of Pentacles. You might be in a constant state of indecision with, well, which one do I choose? And is this going to happen, or is this going to happen? And kind of always having ideas but not really picking one. So that might be the case for you. Again, I'm only very quickly summarising the cards. There's a lot more that each of these cards mean. Have a session so we can see what part of the card relates to your situation. And the Chariot is the last one. Now, the Chariot, compared to the other 7 cards in the major, the Chariot is the major arcana, and the other 4 cards, the Wands, 7 of Wands, 7 of Swords, 7 of Cups, and 7 of Pentacles, they're in the minor arcana. So arcana is just like a group, another name for a group. So the Chariot is in the major arcana. This person who is in the Chariot, they're stationary. There is a yellow background. They've got 2 sphinxes in black and white who are also stationary. The whole card is generally the person in the sphinxes being still. Now, the energy of the 7s in general is a moving energy. The Chariot is still a moving energy, but a mentally moving energy, but the actual physical movement isn't happening. So if you keep getting that, you might be excessively overthinking some particular person or situation or upcoming event or something that's just happened, and you might be over, like just going over it so many times, making yourself really negative, maybe really worried, kind of out of control in your mind. So there's still a lot of movement in the Chariot card, but because the actual figures in the card are still, there's mental movement without physical and emotional movement, hence the kind of whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, because they're not being acted upon. We have done the sevens and we are finished. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please like me on Facebook. Please subscribe to me on YouTube, and you can listen to this on SoundCloud. Have a session so that you can help yourself understand yourself through the cards, and we can remove a lot of grey clouds for you, and we can help you feel a lot more positive and in charge of your life. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, Jade, for all your work as usual, and see you next time.